Here, I'll get it.
Sign supposed to be it.
Laura would sign this too, so.
Roll call for the record?
Is it Noonan? Mr. Noonan?
Yes,
Mr.
here.
Christensen?
Present.
Mr. Robbins?
No, I'm not part of this.
Oh,
Mr. Barron.
I'm sorry, Mr. Barron.
Yes.
So
Here.
the other participants are.
So you have the chairman, vice, and secretary.
Okay, and then the folks that are here just listening.
Any public comment? Any agenda additions or deletions? Okay, we need a motion for that, I guess.
Well,
I move we approve the agenda as
Support.
posted.
All right. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We got an agenda. Okay, moving on here, we got budget discussion. Laura will put it in our, put some documents together. 31 through 35 of our packet.
So if there's anything that, I mean, you can always try and get them to bump up your, basically $45,000 more.
Right.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, I was thinking that we're going to have our normal year to year coming from each committee. And that's been gobbling up our budget on a yearly basis over the last 3 years. And now we're at a point where the committees are kicked in and moving forward and making recommendations. And I was thinking of keeping that format with the recommendations that we have from our memory that we can put down for this coming year. And also what I'm thinking is that we should, as a separate item, put the walking trail for miles as a separate item from our normal budget to ask the county commissioners to fund, not to exceed $190,000. And we'll have a better number by the 13th. And the packets come out on Monday, and we have what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
This is actually an informal packet, but I checked with the county, and that's how the packet is going to look, that 6-page document that Steve has. However, will be released on the 10th, and then we have them to the 25th. So we're kind of giving a jump start.
Right.
But I just thought, the walking trail is not going to fit in our budget, and we're not going to get money from the trust fund because our county's too rich. We got money to buy Veronica, and maybe a purchase would be something we could get enough points for. Dave knows more about the point issue than me, but why not put something special out there for the county commissioners to think about and do thumbs up, thumbs down? I mean, why not? We're at a point where that has come up. I appreciate what Don did. It made all the points, the 4 items from Miles, the walking trail, hit all of those points. And if we're going to actually get it, we're going to have to kind of beg the county commissioners to fund it. Once it's funded, I think we can go to, say, Rotary Charity, would you pitch in? And then go to these other local funding sources and see if they would pitch in. The county's on board, and would they be willing to be on board too, that kind of thing. I don't know. That's an idea.
Well, Steve, and I'm saying this from previous conversation that you and I've had, you're suggesting that of the big ticket items that we know are beyond our standard yearly budget, that we pick one to pitch to the full county commission now. And part of the whole reason of doing that is keeping it in front of them, even if it's not going to happen next year. But we start pushing and saying, this is one of our high priorities. This paved walking trail has been, I certainly know it's been talked about as being something the public's wanted since I have been on the commission. So part of this, putting this out, this request out to the county commission is just one of the steps in announcing to them that as we look forward, this is one of the main items we're going to be chasing, and we're going to need some of your help. I mean, by asking for it now, I think we don't expect that the county commission's going to say, oh, yeah, 100% right now. But we need to ask anyway. And
think that's appropriate.
May I?
Go ahead.
Please.
Bursting. I have brought this up before when it came to our ARPA dollars, when we were trying to decide what to spend that American Rescue dollars on. We had 4.2 million or whatever it was. We've dedicated that, but we think we're going to get more. The state's sitting on billions that they have to decide how to distribute. So we should get more of those dollars. And I've been hammering the county board on giving us, 100,000 towards that walking trail. So maybe if that comes down this year, so I do suggest we ask for it through budget. And hopefully the
So
dollars.
the timing is good.
The timing is good, and we've got to do it. Go ask for 200,000.
I think Rick was thinking 190 was sounding like a good number, and 190 sounds better than 200.
Okay, that's 190. And I just wanted to say too that a friend of mine I don't know if it was on Overheard in Leelanau or another Facebook page, but she just put something as simple as, I wish there was a walking trail at Miles Kimberly Park.
Yeah, I saw that. She's the neighbor of Trees.
Yeah, exactly. And so people want this. They want it. And somebody else said, yeah, there should be more. They didn't realize there was the upper walking trails. We didn't get into all that. But they want that paved loop. So that's all.
I know I was talking to Rick before he left, and his comment, we're just kind of pivoting a little bit. The trail doesn't need to be all the way over to Uncle Noonan's.
Right.
It could be shorter. It could be a shorter loop. Once the loop is in, the plan can go around the trail. If we have the trail that's situated, we can work with that. I think we can move forward with this trail idea, even if it doesn't fit in with the planning phase quite exactly, although I'm putting that as number one for miles, $500 to $7,500 for planning. Thinking that's gonna happen right away this coming season. Anyway, just thinking out loud.
The trail is part of the CIP, right?
Yes.
It's in.
Because you want to reference that in your budgetary documents, because I think Deb was always saying, what is it in the CIP?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, the CIP's the first step. It's got to be there. And then this kind of look-ahead request and communication of our high priority is the next step. So this is all in line. Are we then going to ask for, or simply expect that the standard budget, 160,000, is what we'll go for next?
What we ended up doing is listing out ticket items.
Right.
And ideally, the ticket items are just under what the budget is. We can't put a lot of stuff in the budget that we don't have money for.
Well, as Melinda had suggested, maybe allude to that potential, and if they're to give the parks better consideration for our funding, if that does happen. We would like to be considered.
So if our regular budget bumps a bit and then we beg for 190 for the walking trail, that can both happen at the same time. It doesn't, okay, got it.
So as far as are we looking at bumping the capital outlay? I mean, that's usually the biggest one. Bump it by 15 to 60 or?
Well, yeah, I guess we could go that way. We probably should list ticket items and then see where we're at. I don't know. I'm looking at planning for some company to come and help assist in a redo of Miles' plan. as one item. Veronica Valley, are we at Pavilion?
Well, I don't think we're, if we're gonna go primarily for the paved trail at Miles Kimberly, where would we want to put a pavilion request in?
Well, I think the loop trail will be aside from the budget.
It's an extra
It won't
request if
be-
they,
Correct,
won't
but I
be-
thought pavilion would also have to be aside from the budget.
Because it's gonna be large.
An over budget item, and I thought we only wanted to do one of those in this year's request.
I see where you're going.
And-
What
and-
items from Veronica can we put in the budget that you anticipate we would potentially get at this coming season?
$10,000 to $25,000 project.
Well, the fish planning, I mean, that's 4,500 roughly.
That's given, yeah.
We've been doing that, but these are like, so when we ask for
Trail expansion or?
Yeah. When we're looking at the capital outlay portion of the
Yeah,
budget,
I would think that because it will fit with future work on improving our parking situation, et cetera, I would go for the pad improvement and porta potty improvement. So
So parking lot and porta potty? Is that, or just porta potty?
just
and
porta potty and associated screening or what they would come in with that planning. As
And
capital
then
up,
maybe the pad for the garbage. Do we do garbage there? We don't do that anymore. Do we do it?
There's dumpsters there.
We have them, don't we? Where's Scott when you need them?
well,
I think we do.
I guess at least.
we have had,
Oh.
but I thought our decision has been to get rid of them there. At least for a while, let's see how we did.
Well,
I
you
don't know
know,
if that 100% happened.
I'm sorry?
I don't know if that 100% happened.
Okay.
There was some discussion about a limit on the totes. There's a thing that you can put on a tote that you can only raise it this far.
Yeah,
So if you were having a picnic, you could put all your stuff in there easy, but the guys that drive their Mercedes from the $7,000 rental down the street with their garbage bags can't fit them in.
And the last I checked with Scott, he had the drawings for that. He may have even had some of the materials pulled together, and I said, what's the holdup? And it was basically time, his time, you know.
I think it might be worth
Um,
looking at, but anyway, there,
But it,
just that whole idea, Veronica, having the porta potties and the screening, and if there's something for a tote, I mean, there's just that
It's
piece.
just one project.
And that's
that would be one project, and that would be the one that I would add as a,
five to $7,500, 5,000 to 7,500 ballpark guesstimate. What about at Veronica? Any more work with the prairie concept? Is that going to take some money to do? Is that something we could get done in a season?
I don't know, I don't know what I would bring to the park committee or to the whole commission as a recommendation on, I've learned since we put that in, the prairie grass is doing so well that we can't get the forbs aren't coming through, they aren't competing. The prairie grass is doing so well that even the knapweed isn't competing against it. It seems to me we spent, Steve, if we added some more to that, the cost of the seed would be paid for by Fish and Wildlife as long as that program goes on next year. It has been this year. Our preparation costs would involve some spray and then manpower hours, mowing.
should we set some money aside? And I guess what we do on this budget, in my estimation, is put down the most probables, and things that we could probably maneuver from, say, January and get done by September. You know, if we start the ball rolling soon enough in the year before, the year of, and to get
Yeah.
into fruition, you know, a couple $1,000s on our prairie restoration project, is that something we should put down maybe?
Yeah, I would anticipate, though, that that would come out of our standard 15,000 on capital improvement.
Right, well,
for our
that's what I'm
part.
thinking. Well,
Yeah.
that's what we have to fill in. That's
We're
what we
trying
have to do.
Find ways to fill in that.
So, I'm gonna put 2,000
Yeah.
prairie restoration.
Okay, that's the figure I would give you myself.
Um,
And we'll have to,
is there a, um, is there a trail extension that, that we could do? For Veronica?
Painting the bridge.
That's one I just came up with myself, painting the bridge. Now, we've kind of gone around and around with the paint the bridge thing.
Yeah.
I think we determined it was not lead. Didn't we determine it was not lead?
but
I think so.
I think that was
I think it
determined.
can be
John, but part of John Popa's determination was it didn't need to be painted yet.
Yeah, okay, I'm kind of remembering that.
It's a couple years ago though that we last looked at it. It's been a
Yeah,
little while.
to be looked
Yeah.
at again.
Yeah.
If I may, I think we should list all of these things in our budget that we want to do, because as we go along, we're gonna say, oh, like, look at this year, bam, we spent the majority of our budget on the curb cuts we're gonna get. So we're gonna be down to a select sliver of money, and we're gonna have to determine what we can spend it on for the rest of the year. And what the Board of Commissioners is gonna ask is it in the budget?
Right.
So if we can say, yes, we had it in the budget because we had that list of wants and needs. So,
And that's what I've done in the past, is try
Yep.
to give them
and
a
we can
list,
say, yep,
a list of projects that
because
add
it makes
up
them
to-
aware of all.
add up to whatever the capital outlay money we're asking for. I list all of, or a whole list of projects that add up to all that. Doesn't mean that we're gonna do that specific project, but that's what's in our mind. Something else pops up, then that's fine by me, just.
And if you list stuff beyond that 45,000, especially if we're gonna ask 60,000 this year,
Yeah.
or whatever, it makes them aware of that ongoing need for more money for our parks.
Right.
Because, that's just my thought, Casey.
I agree.
Wildlife viewing platform, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, as I'm looking at the Veronica, you know, we just put together a, proposal for miles, and we had a concrete pad, we had a concrete, sidewalk, not too long, to a car drop-off point. 88 porta potty, 3 other porta potties, and a cover. It was a structure that had a little storage area, but it was open on 2 sides. And we were looking at close to 30 grand, and I think the final number came up over 30 grand. So I'm starting to think that
33
Um,
is correct.
33, yeah. So I'm starting to think that porta potty screening an area for that, and maybe if we're gonna do that much, we should have a ADA porta john and a
Definitely.
trail to it. So I think 5,000 to 7,500 is pretty skinny. So we probably should bump that to
15 at least.
15, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get much for 15 grand when it comes to construction.
Yeah, well, I just try to approach somewhat of a reality here. So we have 15, we have 2 that's 17, wildlife viewing platform, another 2,500.
That takes you to about 20. That'd be
So,
fair.
so we're in that range, 15, 17. Yeah, it's close to 20 grand for Veronica. Planning for miles, we're at $500 to $7,500. What else at miles? If we're planning, it kind of puts us back to square one. But what else is there at miles that would be a,
What price range are you talking about?
well, let's say 15,000. You know, should we do striping? Should we do pickleball stripes on the tennis courts?
If Scott were here, I talked to Scott about that, and he said no, the tennis players don't like it, and the pickleballers don't like it.
Got it.
Apparently it's confusing for them, but you keep them separate. But it was in one of the plans that I looked at, but that was one of the possibilities.
I'm gonna take this call.
Tennis court and pickleball. Scott said, we really don't want to do that, because we've heard people say, please don't do that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Can we
that's
get-
interesting.
Can we get any kind of a slab for pickleball for 20 grand?
Dog park, we have a CIP in for a dog park,
Yeah,
it's
we've got a dog
$40,000. We have the kiosk at the across the way, that's $30,000. And that's kind of a lot, and that didn't include the walkway by the way, that was gonna be an asphalt walkway. The only concrete was the slab, and two foot each side, or a foot each side, around it. We could buy a water dispenser and store it till we put it somewhere, something like that. It's $3,500. I don't know the setup now, what Scott has going for a temporary water. We could put up a standalone kiosk on some posts and have a nice bulletin board.
I like that because it's going to take us a while.
A post and a glass and case thing. But what I would really like to see is, like, you want to have a saloon, I think a nice,
Well, yeah, now that
a nice pavilion with an information center and a restaurant.
standalone kiosk,
Would be nice.
and that's going to cost,
More money than we can.
you know, again, it's probably 5 to 7,500. I mean, that's probably a minimum for the posts and the lumber, and Scott puts it together, and
If you want an enclosed thing, you want something you can enclose and change, open up, post.
Some sort of case like that's out front here where they put all the.
$5 grand maybe.
It's gotta be waterproof, it's gonna be outside.
So we have a standalone kiosk, we have planning, we're up to 12,500 there. We're at 19,500 at Veronica. Old Settlers.
One idea that I had, I didn't ask Scott about this today, but the dock that there is a wooden dock, which is fine, but it may be getting to the point of needing some replacement or a replacement.
Dock sections.
There's obviously several different varieties, some aluminum, some plastic, some
10,
Plastic ones, they're $1,000,
a
10,000.
$800 each for 10 foot.
10-foot section.
So
Yeah, I'd say at least
10,000.
I don't know if that's something that would be agreeable for everybody, but it was just there's not nearly as many improvements to be made there as Miles or Veronica.
And
So-
we've got the playground equipment
That's
going in.
Yep, and one thing that's been talked about quite a few times is some sort of crushed stone parking areas
Ooh, parking.
along the road. That might be a good one to accomplish this year or next year, something that's not a massive ticket item, but
Sideline parking.
because it's all dirt along there anyways, because people park there.
22A
Beats
with
the
the
grass all up.
25A special top. We could probably drop 5 grand pretty easy on that.
Yeah, by the time you get somebody to do a little excavating and some hauling and the cost of the material.
Well, that'd be a 10,000. Let's do 10 there. So we're at 20 there. We're at 20 there. It's 40, 52,000. And
Yes.
yeah, I mean, why? And then if that's all under,
Capital outlay.
capital outlay, we'd be asking for a boost, right?
Yes. My thought was that we're at 45, ask for at least 55 or 60.
So we're at, let's see, there's 20, it's 40, 52.5, about 52,000.
55?
I'd ask for 55, and we can maybe think of another small project or
Oh,
something.
the standalone kiosk, there it is. Okay, I think let me just take a look here. Yeah. Let's go for it.
One thing Miles Kimberly could do is Steve will remember what it was. There's parking up above where you look down on the soccer field,
Mhm.
and some of that, there was a wire going across there and stuff. That needs some repair work.
Oh, those stones, we were gonna do stones, that big limestone.
Right.
They-
We're gonna do that at Old Settlers too, for the park at the playground. I gotta get Zach on
I think
that.
we got that covered. That's gonna be, isn't that gonna be, we'll do that?
Zach said that he would do it, I just haven't touched base with him.
So
Now it's time to get
It's
it.
not gonna hit here.
No, no, but that just peeked into my mind there. I brought it back.
Was Melinda suggesting that we do add to our list here, even this idea of a pavilion and learning center at Veronica?
No,
Okay.
I think your thought process is accurate on that. It's gonna be a large one, and the following year, we're gonna be sitting here talking about that one. Is one way to go on that, and the other way is to piecemeal it. Put a slab up, and that kind of thing. Go up a little bit a year, but I don't know. The
Be nice to
slabs
do
don't
it.
hold up real well under the weather. So let's see, okay,
So you got enough to cover 55,000?
well, we're getting close. No? Let's see.
And most of those estimates, I think, are fairly conservative in today's world.
Yeah, we have been good at spending money recently. We were not good at that historically. That's 42. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're at 42. Calculator one. So,
That's all 42?
I don't know. That's
Laurel's checking.
We'll look at the calendar real quick.
That's 12.5 there. So we got Miles standalone kiosk and planning, that's 12,500. Veronica Valley, we have the porta potty area, that's 15,000. Includes ADA access. Prairie restoration 2,
In that,
and wildlife viewing 2,500, so that's it.
That's 20.
Yeah, that's 19.5, so,
20, 30,
Yeah.
and then 20,000 for, dock sections 10, and the parking improvement 10, that's another 20. So why didn't the numbers go? That should be enough, 5, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 52. There, we're at 52. So that's not a bad number.
I think the prairie, possibility of some more additional prairie next year, or this whole idea of a wildlife viewing space, I think those are real flex dollars that we can,
Yeah, I was just looking at the Veronica plan, and it had the wildlife viewing platform, wildlife viewing location, but I think it's screaming for a platform. That's at the high point. You know, that's,
Just to
it's
observe the park,
it's a
basically.
spot to sit and observe and have your binocs, and I don't know. I always thought that would be a cool thing. There's another
Well,
wildlife viewing
And
location.
it makes me,
It might be wildlife viewing.
since I've been in charge of doing the budget, a lot of the projects that I put in the capital outlay are the projects that we end up getting done within the year. This is just a way to justify the money.
Right.
And
that's all I'm saying is, so further prairie development and wildlife viewing pad, I think are good ones to put in this list.
Right.
But maybe flexible dollars when we really get to it.
Yeah.
And the platform, you know, it has areas. I think we took platform away from the plan and made it into areas, thinking that we wouldn't necessarily need a structure
Right.
that would have to be maintained versus a hardened area that would hold up to a nice tripod and be steady and
Yeah.
easy to maintain. Just a swipe with the weed spray stick and you got it.
Right. So you got enough to cover 55,000 there?
52, yeah, I can bump this one, wildlife viewing areas, and I can bump that to 5, and that'll be an extra 2,500. That'll be 005 or 54.5,
There you go.
and that'll be
500 for a cushion round number.
that'll push the county board to give us a little more or not, and then as an aside, 190,000 for the paved walking
Has
path.
anybody asked Elmer's if they donate?
Well, that's a good question. Don, are you gonna be at that meeting?
I'm sorry.
Are you gonna be at the meeting with Elmer's and
Oh, yeah.
Scott?
Yeah, that's been delayed till the 13th of the
Okay.
the week of June 13th.
Yeah,
But they're probably-
ask, you know, many times they'll kick in a bit on a project that's for a park, for kids. You know, and kind of pitch that to them, that this might be
They're probably
something.
not meeting with Todd or Troy Broad though.
Actually,
No, it's Justin Kalinsky.
Oh.
You know,
Got a project.
he's got some juice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Todd's supposed to be out to look at my brother's driveway, and if I can catch him, I'll ask if they.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would or not, or how they. I know that private donations most likely not, but if it's public.
Yeah, it's a public park, so it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
They're very generous.
They are.
Yeah. The one experience I had with him was relative to the astronomy education program at the college, and how out of date a lot of the computers, whatever, at the observatory. And it was somebody from Elmer's son was in a Cub Scout hat who went through it.
Okay.
Had a tour one night, and it seemed like as if Elmer's entire tech department arrived one day with boxes of new computers, and just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Took all of it out and put in it and set it all up, and it was just wonderful.
That's kind of how they operate. Not a lot of behind the scenes donation type stuff. Not always, but
Yeah.
they do a lot of that.
Yeah, very generous.
Okay,
Very
anything else, Steve? Because everything else the budget lines would stay status quo at this point. Just a capital outlay increase, and we
It's a
have,
capital outlay request. Travel, education, memberships, subscriptions, I'm
A
not
lot
sure.
of things don't really apply to you.
I don't
That's
think
just the-
those
That's just how-
quick, and then contractual services is standard. So I think it's just basically capital outlay and a little overview and.
I think think I've listed some items for contractual services before just to justify what, list them, but they see that every month as it comes through, and we're not asking for a increase.
I'm looking at the board, or the county government center calendar of events. The 16th is completely open, that's a Thursday. And then on the 17th, which is a Friday, the entire afternoon is open. Do either of those two dates work for holding a Miles meeting followed by a Parks meeting?
What's the 16th, what day of the week?
It's a Thursday.
Fridays are not good for me. I try to be a farmer on Friday.
So Thursday all day, that room is available, this room is available.
The 16th.
That shouldn't be a problem for me.
Okay,
I've got tech committee from 10 until noon, probably.
okay.
So it's afternoon would be okay.
So you are talking a special session of Parks Commission.
Because you wanted to address the possibility of what you want to do across the world.
Yeah, I understand that, but I won't be in town those days,
Okay.
just in terms of board and that sort of thing. I'll be
All we
available.
need is a quorum, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm good 16th and 17th, except, 10 in the morning.
Okay, so we could,
Let's shoot for the 16th.
yeah, and
Pick
what
a
time of
time.
day works best for you?
Pick a time.
The kids are gonna be out of school then, so usually I'm getting kids off the bus, so whatever time.
So you wanted to hold your meeting first, and then we'll hold the special session?
Yep.
Okay.
Me.
So what time do you want to do, 2? Do you
Just
want
fine.
2?
Sure.
Okay.
Are we talking Thursday or Friday?
Thursday.
The 16th.
Fine. Anytime Thursday. Except 10.
And then-
Two's fine, one's fine.
An hour should be long enough to think about it, right?
Just 2 items.
Yeah, we should- and you have already discussed the one, I mean, we know where you stand on the one, so.
Probably only take 5 minutes.
Yeah, park special session at 3.
So on the aside about the workshop, at the Miles Committee meeting, I mentioned that the Cedar Fire and Rescue Group, sometimes they do practice burns.
Yeah,
So maybe,
they could, but they don't do much of that anymore. But I've seen him a couple times here in the last couple weeks, and he's aware, it's on his list of things to do. He had a big septic job or something to finish up over in Glen Arbor, and he didn't have too many things listed ahead of the removal, but he flies by the seat of his pants a lot of the time. It'll be gone, just can't tell you when.
before the snow falls.
Yeah, it'll be before the snow falls. Well, at least I hope, depends how early it falls. Okay, moving on here, any other discussion, budget discussion? Public comment, nobody's, commissioner comments, nothing from me, you guys?
Good to go.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're
So,
adjourned.
Mr. Chair, do you want me to write it?
It's up to you.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to